Awesome, Kevin. I wanted to say thanks to collages.net and, oh, hold on a sec, share my screen. Thanks to collages.net and Kevin for hosting this wonderful webinar. And real quick background with myself, I started photography at my college newspaper back in 2001 and pursued photojournalism for a little while after that, and then quickly learned that negativity-filled world of the newspapers was not the right fit for me, and I got involved with a portrait studio up in Santa Maria, which is near San Luis Obispo. And then in 2007, I moved to San Diego and started the business. Met my wife shortly after moving to San Diego, and now we live here in Scripps Ranch. And our studio is located off Miramar Road. It's centrally located here in San Diego. We have a beautiful 1,600 square foot studio, and we primarily focus on weddings, although we do also do family portraits, newborns, maternities, headshots, and all the other stuff we all photographers do. So going to jump right in here and wanted to talk with you guys about something that is something I feel really strongly about, and it was really helped grow our business quickly here. We've only been in business for about 5 years, really. 2007 didn't really count. It was more of a just get the business license year and figure out how to do a website. So exceeding client expectations, how to develop a client referral-based studio. And let's talk about first why referral-based studios are better than relying on marketing or coordinators. And you can see right here, coordinators and venues can be so frustrating. In my experience, coordinators have multiple photographers. Now that being said, we do work with some awesome coordinators. I got to plug Creative Affairs just in case this gets posted. And Peely, Amanda, Stephanie, all you girls are fantastic. But in general, we've had more bad experiences with coordinators than we've had good experiences. Having multiple photographers for them makes perfect sense. They don't want to rely on just one photographer, but it doesn't make sense for us to focus on them. Some of them require takebacks or finder fees. That's not cool because we price ourselves a certain way. We already have large bills with the studio, marketing, and staff. So the additional 10% to coordinator is not something that sits well with me. This thing, they'll eventually replace you with another trendy photographer in a few years or sooner. And this is so true. I've seen it personally happen. And I know lots of photographers that have been doing this longer than I have that have experienced this way worse than myself. Venues have extremely high turnover in the catering department. And all the asses you kiss today will surely be gone in less than a few years. And this has happened so many times to me personally. We did, there's one story about the Rancho Bernardo Inn, which is a great venue here in San Diego. We shot about 8 weddings in 2 months. Basically, every weekend we were shooting there, and I thought surely we are in like no other at this spot. And the person that I was contacting constantly about getting marketing material up and dealing with ended up quitting or getting fired and completely lost that venue and now have very little connection with that venue. So yeah, all those asses I kissed are gone. Sample albums and prints are costly, especially when you don't even know they're being displayed. This happened a couple times to us where I've given a sample album to a venue and go back later to check on it or just touch bases, and it is either not around, which means it was thrown out, or just put in some back room storage somewhere, or it's just buried somewhere and it's not really easily accessible. So that's some of the frustrations I've dealt with coordinators and venues. And marketing sucks. It really does. Marketing is typically most effective when they see you in more than one place. So to do it well, you have to be all over the place. There's that saying that they have to see you 7 times to feel comfortable. That's probably more for the product business, not so much service related. But still, to do it right, it costs a lot of money. And another thing is there's so much competition. So we are advertising with the Knot. And by the way, we still do advertise. And but at the same time, we have example here. We're working with the Knot, and we're doing a couple different campaigns on it, and all of a sudden it was going well, and they jumped from 20 photographers to 30 photographers without even saying anything to us. It just happened one day. I was looking and noticed that we were not receiving the same number of leads. So then I contacted them, and they said, oh, change our policy. We're just doing 30 photographers now. And things like that are out of our control, and that's their decision, and that's fine. And unfortunately, we still chose to stick with them because it's still somewhat effective. But at the same time, again, it sucks. Bridal shows, people are always wanting deals. Now, people often say bridal shows work. I hear some people say they work well. Some people say they don't work at all. Really depends on the show. It depends on how aggressive you are at the show. Depends on your price point. It depends on a number of things. Bridal shows really were the engine that drove us in the beginning. We had nothing starting out, and they really drove the business in the first couple of years. And then every year since we've raised prices, we've seen less and less. And now it's probably one of the least amount of our leads come from bridal shows than anywhere else. Plus, I feel like I lose a little bit of my soul at every show I go to. That's just a personal thing there. Print marketing is basically dead. Print marketing is a thing of the past, and anything that you focus on now, I believe, should be on the web, search engine, Facebook, blog, all that stuff is going to be what's going to be way more powerful than print marketing. A few years ago, we decided to try it because that's what I was thinking that everybody should try, or everybody was doing. So I got a full-page ad with San Diego Style magazine and paid $5,000 and 0 leads. 0 leads came from it, and it was real frustrating to pay that amount of money, have expectations at that level, and we get 0 leads. We get more leads from our free Facebook campaigns we do. I suppose the parties and social events are good networking, but I personally really hate going to those sorts of things. I got a wife and a 2-year-old, and they don't see me enough as it is. So any free time, I don't want to go to parties. But again, that's just me personally. Google AdWords requires constant maintenance and is not cheap. We've actually not explored this too much, but I do know a little bit about it from friends and other business owners. And you do have to maintain close attention and constantly be updating the price per click. I believe this is effective. Google AdWords. Google is still the primary search engine everybody's using, without a doubt, and it's still powerful. But again, it requires a lot of maintenance. So now on to the real stuff. Client referrals are good as gold. Period. Absolutely, no doubt. Your clients only refer one photographer. You. Not the other few photographers the coordinators have, not other photographers that venues work with. They refer you. So they cost nothing really. I also believe that kickbacks are not a good idea. Sometimes that comes up where clients ask for kickbacks. It really doesn't work. We did try a campaign where we were offering, I believe it was $100 for referral fees. We actually saw referrals drop during that period. And I don't know why, really, but I would suppose that it has to do with the wrong motivation. People, when they're motivated like that, and people are motivated by money, no doubt, but at the same time, a stronger motivation is that they are so happy with the service and you've exceeded expectations so beyond their wildest dreams that they just want to tell all their friends about you. And then if you end up offering a kickback, you'll end up just throwing money away because those people would probably refer you without the kickback. So 0 maintenance, right? Past referrals, past clients, minus just a little maybe happy birthday on Facebook, is essentially 0 maintenance. So that's easy. Once you shoot a couple weddings within a friend circle, you can steamroll through that entire group. We see this happen all the time. There's certain groups of people that just fall in love with our studio. Starts with 1, then it goes to 2, and then once it seems like it hits 2 friends within a circle, we end up shooting all 10 of them. And that's always fantastic because you develop a whole different level of rapport when you have shot a number of people in that friend circle. They'll become a customer for life, and they'll hire you for maternity, newborn, and family portrait sessions. We do 0 advertising in that arena, but we do a fair amount of business with maternities, newborns, and families, and if we tried even harder, we could do a lot. Things are pretty busy with our wedding side, so that's been our focus for a while now. But that's something that's always fantastic, to be able to establish lifelong relationships with your clients, and it moves on to some great stuff. Okay, and then let's see here. I want to exceed expectations from start to finish. When I mean start, I really mean start. From the initial inquiry through the moment they walk out the studio with images in hand. So the whole process to me is important. And I'm going to break it down here into 3 categories: pre-wedding, day of, and post-wedding. So let's start with pre-wedding expectations. Initial inquiry. Some people don't take this as serious as I believe they should. All of our inquiry emails are returned the same day if they're received during normal business hours. For us, that's 10 to 6:30, and quite often, even after those hours, I'll touch bases from my phone and say, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow first thing. We have a studio manager who handles all correspondence even when we're on vacation, so this system is consistent all year long. Now, I understand that not everybody could have that luxury of having a manager, and even if you can't, there's other alternatives, such as having friends and family maybe perhaps reply to an email if you're on vacation. I'm not a big fan of auto replies. We do use them occasionally, but it sometimes almost could be detrimental. I feel like having your mom or a friend simply be forwarded emails and then respond to perhaps new inquiries is not a bad idea to consider. Let's see here. Return inquiry emails have links to blog posts from their venue. This is critical, and ever since we started blogging a few years ago, this has been a fantastic tool to be able to offer them specific links to their venue, and they see examples of our work there. They then know that we've shot there, and they feel more comfortable than in the meeting and talking about the venue. So that's been great. This is so understated, I think. Have a very navigation-friendly website with obvious access to the contact info. You could have all the best photos in the world, awards, up the butt, whatever you want, and if your website isn't navigation-friendly, it's going to be difficult, and people are going to click off and go on to the other 29 photographers on the knot, or the 100 photographers in that at the bridal show. So I think the secret is find a 10-year-old and test your site. A 10-year-old, yep. Find a kid or any kid, any age, excuse me, and see if they can navigate. Kids are pretty tech savvy, but still, with that being said, if a 10-year-old can navigate through your site and find the contact info, send an email, find the gallery page, find different things that you feel important, then you know your site is navigation friendly. Well, one thing that we do is a real hot topic of. Some people love it, some people hate it. We keep our rates on our website. I feel keeping our rates transparent, it tends to help us because we're not getting a lot of inquiries for people that were way over their budget. Another option, which is in between, is putting your starting rates and say contact the studio for more info. And that's a decent compromise. We've always had our rates on there, and it's done well for us. So that's what we've been sticking with, to be honest there. All right, first consultation. So this is a little photo of our studio here. We meet in the amazing 1,600 square foot studio in San Diego. And you can see a photo there. You can see there's 2 couches, coffee table. There's a TV back there with a speaker beneath it. There's prints. Those large prints are 4 by 5 feet. Other ones are either 24 by 30 or up to 36 inches. And we have vaulted ceilings. So this is a great place for us to meet. And a lot of people don't have a studio, and that's okay. If you work from home, spruce up your space as much as possible, because first impressions, this is actually probably, I would say, the second impression. First impression would be the website. Second impressions are very important. And so here, let's see here. Oh yeah, we utilize a large screen to pull up any image in our catalog. And we sometimes will have a slideshow playing on the TV if we don't have a sample album. Nowadays, we do have quite a few sample albums of most of the popular venues that we want to work at. And so we do sometimes utilize that screen. We never ask about other photographers. This is something that I feel strongly about. I don't even want to know, really, most of the time, who other people are thinking about, because some of them might be my friends, some of them might not be, but it's really not a concern, because anytime when I hear about a company, I start thinking maybe I need to change something, maybe I need to do something different like that person if they perhaps booked a client over me, and that is just polluting my mind. I want to focus on myself. I want to spend every second during that meeting talking about our style, talking about how we flow with the day. I want to focus on us, and it tends to be really easy then to want to trash talk another company that you might know they do something, and I don't even want to do that. And by the way, we never trash talk any company, never have. We stay 100% positive all the time, no matter what. Even if I know that company's doing something shady, I won't even say it. So let's see here. Apply the pressure with a smile. So although I consider us low pressure salesmen in that first consultation, we definitely apply the pressure. I was talking to a videographer one time, and we were talking about different styles and on how we try to close clients, and they said that they don't ask, do you want to sign up? And I thought that was crazy, and they said that they didn't want to be pushy. How I think of it is that we're offered the best service around, in my opinion, and if they sign up with us, they're doing themselves a favor. And so by asking questions, do you guys want to sign up today, is not, in my opinion, pushy. It's just simply asking this from the assumption that I think they should sign up with us, and it just gives them a chance to segue into, yes, let's sign up. Where's the contract? All right, let's get the contract. Let's do it. Here we go. So we do offer you sign-up incentives sometimes, because this area, when they walk out the door, they're gone, or they can be gone, and so we do offer free. We have metal prints that are our top-selling print, so we offer typically sometimes a metal print, depending on the day of the week, the couple, the package. There's a million variables involved with that. Follow-up to the first consultation, absolutely critical as well. Let's see here. Hold on one second. We have a little glitch. One moment. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Let's see here.
I can still see your screen.
Yeah, I'm not being able to fast forward to the next screen here. Oh, here we go.
Nice.
All right. Not sure what happened there. I think I might have clicked off of it. All right, follow up to the first, sorry guys. Follow up to the first consultation. It's absolutely critical to develop some sort of organizational system to have regular follow-ups so the regular follow-ups are maintained. We're a little bit old school. We just simply print out the initial inquiry and take notes. And we indicate when we emailed them, when we called them, when we met with them, when we sent contracts. We just write it all down. It's kind of archaic, I know, but something we've been doing since the beginning, and it works well. We have a clipboard, and we have a whole stack right now. I'm looking at a stack of probably 30 inquiries of the last couple weeks that are organized like that. And then we will often send a link to our reviews. So reviews have been one of our biggest pushes lately, pushes as far as number of inquiries. Something is going on with Yelp and us, something magical, where we get so many inquiries from Yelp, more than we do from all of our paid advertising, and we don't do anything with Yelp. And so what we do with that is we send a Wedding Wire and Yelp link saying to people, check out what other clients have experienced with us, what's working with us. And we have it's something around 200 reviews, all 5 stars, between Wedding Wire, Yelp, and Wedding Channel, which is the Knott's version of the review. So from the client's perspective, after a really prompt reply from the initial inquiry, after checking out samples of our work from the blog, after meeting in one of the coolest studios ever invented, after reading 200 5-star reviews if they feel like going through all the reviews, in my opinion, there's almost no chance they will not book us if they have the budget. That's the kind of confidence that I bring to the meetings, and that I have during the meetings, and I have leaving the meeting, and I have during the whole process. Like I said earlier, in my opinion, we offer the best products, exceed expectations beyond their wildest dreams, and think that they really need to hire us. And that kind of confidence, I'm not trying to be pompous or conceited, but I want to be just below that. I want to be extremely confident, not quite pompous. Something around that is the goal, for better or worse. That's what I think. Okay, final consultation. So some photographers aren't into this. They do it over the phone, or they don't do it all, or they have coordinators that do everything for them. I think that's not a good idea. I think, hey Kevin, can you see, you can see this, huh? Let me just minimize that. Just realized.
Oh, no, we can't see that part of the webinar. Like the program part, we can't see that.
Yeah. So you're just seeing the
just
screen?
your slideshow.
Okay, perfect. All right, final consultation. So again, we have a final consultation. We go over the wedding timeline, the photo checklist. We have created a tips for great photography and 2 forms to help blog content creation. So for me, it's absolutely critical to control the wedding day timeline. Letting the bride, coordinator, or anybody else dictate the flow of the day is a real bad idea. As much as I want to spend my time in really important things such as growing the business, networking with other frustrating coordinators, I still maintain control of the flow of the day, and I sit down with my clients every meeting and do the timeline. Then I let my manager take over the other stuff. The flow of the day is so critical, and I love controlling that. So tips for great photography. We have come up with 6 critical tips for us, and some of these have to do with photos, some of them don't really, but they're somewhat related. Having a nice flowing day that's not stressful, that just goes well, it really helps myself just as much as it helps the bride. And when she's not stressed out, when she's able to relax, it will show in the photos, and we'll typically get better photos. And a lot of those tips have to do with about running late, and we all know how things run late. Basically, those tips were originated from things where I would leave a wedding, go home and tell my wife or friends. I would say, God damn it, why did they not do this? This would have solved everything. And then I was like, enough complaining to my friends and my wife, why don't I just put this in the tips, tell them about it, stress how important this is. If they don't listen, then fine, I could go home and complain. But it did reduce the number of times that would happen. So we have a vendor form as well as a getting to know you questionnaire. I know these ideas are pretty unique. I don't know many other photographers that do this. Vendor form is simple. Basically, it's just a place where they could put the list of vendors. And so that helps us when we're creating our blogs, and we can hyperlink to everybody. The more you hyperlink, the better. And so the easiest way to hyperlink is just get a list of the vendors, Google them, grab their website, copy paste in the bottom of the blog. Done. So the Get to Know You questionnaire, this has got a few questions, and I have it. We'll show it a little bit later here. Basically, this is a way so our manager, who doesn't know the couple very well, who hasn't shot the wedding, can create the blog content, which is simply the little paragraph that goes underneath or on top of the Facebook or blog post. And if I was blogging myself, I probably wouldn't have to do this questionnaire, but I don't do that. So to have somebody else do that and still have something cute and funny and witty about the couple. So we have a few questions that we ask to try to elicit some cute remarks. All right. Oh, here it is. So wedding vendors. So, I mean, this isn't that genius at all. This is just simply a spot for them to list all the people that we want to network with. And it has helped in other senses where somebody goes, I love these flowers. Who did these flowers? We could go back to this vendor list, pull it up, and say it was so-and-so. Same thing with the band. When we go to the wedding, we don't know how good the band's going to be, but after the wedding, we might leave and go, that band was awesome. And then if somebody asks, do you guys know a good band that plays country music or whatever, we could go back and check that out. All right, so then let's see here. this is the Get to Know You questionnaire. So bride's last name, critical that we make sure we don't mix them up. We deal with a lot of clients all the time, and so having the bride's last name makes sure we stay organized. When and where did you meet? How did he propose? What do you love most about each other? What do you enjoy doing as a couple? What are you most looking forward to with your wedding? What made you choose your venue? Why did you choose us? And what's the quirkiest aspect of your relationship? You could ask a whole plethora of different questions. This is just some things that we like to get to elicit something for them to talk about themselves. And we're really only looking for maybe 2 or 3 at the most statements or remarks about them that we could then create 4 or 5 or 6 sentences. We don't spend a lot of time doing the content. We focus more on the photography, but you know, as some people would say, the content's very, very boring. So let's see here. All right, moving forward, exceeding day of expectations. All right. Always arrive early. It's a no-brainer, right? But I take this to the extreme. I'm always arriving a minimum half hour early, sometimes 45 minutes. I typically double the drive. I think the drive's going to take a half hour. I plan for an hour and then plan to get there a half hour early. There's nothing worse than starting the day late. In fact, I don't think I've ever, maybe one wedding I arrived late out of 500, but it never happens, and it never should happen. Stay calm and confident through the entire day. Confidence is king, just about everything. And so even if you blow a shutter, drop a lens, play it cool, the client should never know. Now, there's a caveat. Unless you really did miss something and it can't be redone, tell them about it right away. There are a million other things that they're going through their minds, and she will not be as upset as you think. So there's really not a situation, minus maybe the bride walking down the aisle, that you can't redo. Even if you miss the rings, even if you miss the kiss, get the officiant up there after the wedding, take a close-up shot of all that stuff, and when you post-process everything, subtract the time, fill it into the spot. Nobody will be the wiser. They will probably even remember you did that, nor will they really care, to be honest. So there's really not a whole lot, but let's say the bouquet, maybe the bouquet toss, which can't really be redone. If you missed it, tell them right away. You might think it's better to tell them later, but it's worse. They will care less if you tell them at that moment. But regardless, the moral of the story is stay calm, stay confident the entire day. It's very important. All right. Be conscientious that taking photos is tiring, and sometimes a couple are just over it. And so I periodically ask them throughout the session, whether it's a bride and groom session or it is a bridal session or family, say, how are you doing? Do you want some water? Should my intern grab something for you? Do you need anything? So I also show them photos on my LCD screen constantly. It gets them more fired up. The one caveat with that is make sure if you do show a photo on the LCD, and this has actually happened to us a couple times, that it's a photo that's not just one moment. It's within a series of photos. So let's say it's just a random shot of a kid hugging a duck that you caught. You know, it's a great shot. You got to show the bride it's her niece. But then if it's out of focus or something that you can't tell from the LCD, it might not be included. She might ask later, "Where's that shot of my niece hugging a duck?" And you know, instead show her a bridal portrait where you have 10 images of the same image. It's a beautiful bridal shot that you know one of those 10 are going to be solid and definitely going to be included in that after the culling. So, okay, let's see here. Night photo sessions. So this has been my obsession lately, and we'll look at some photos a little bit later at the end that are some examples of my obsession. And this has been so fun. Taking the camera off, taking the flash off your camera, being really creative. Most importantly, taking huge risks with these photos. It's a low-stress session. It's typically with the bride and groom, by the way. I didn't mention that, but sometimes a bridal party, but mostly focus on the bride and groom. I've just been obsessed with these lately, and I look forward to them way more than the sunset photos. Those are done. I mean, I've been for so long. I mean, imagine all the families' engagements and wedding stuff, and that's just getting a little old. Still do it, still get great shots, but the night photo sessions are what I really look forward to these days. So let's see here. This is something that I've heard about for ages and always thought it was not possible unless you had a staff of 5 people doing this stuff for you. Same day edit. This is something we've been exploring just recently. In fact, after this most recent WPPI is when I learned specifically the best way to do this and been implementing it ever since, and it's been going really well. And this is going to be specific more to Canon shooters. I shoot Canon, and so I don't know exactly. I think Nikon has a little bit different system for some of these specific things that we'll mention. So unfortunately, Nikon guys out there and girls, it may not be an exact duplicate as far as what you could do. But if you shoot Canon, it works well. As far as this goes, surprise is everything. Do not tell them you're doing it. So many reasons why. The first thing is surprise go way further than fulfilling the expectation. So if you tell them about it, you have to do it, first off. And then when you do it, you're just doing something you said you would. But if you don't tell them and you surprise them, they'll be so ecstatic about it. And another thing is I don't do this every wedding. Sometimes I'm not feeling it. Sometimes I don't have time. If they don't give us ample time, and it's only about 10 minutes to prepare, but if we don't have 10 minutes to sit down and eat because they're doing a money dance, well, I'm not going to do the same day edit. So it's just because of the timing and the logistics. But most of the time we do lately. So this is how it works. So Canon 5D Mark IIIs have 2 card slots. I send raw files to the CF cards and high-resolution JPEGs to the SD card. I got a 128 gig SD card, which is more than enough for one wedding, and so I don't have to change that out. It just sits in there all day. And then as I'm chimping throughout the day, which we all chimp, I'm sure, I do all the time, I'll admit it, I rate images with 1 star. And that's really awesome that the Canon 5D Mark III has a rating system. And for so many years, or ever since I started shooting with the Mark III, I thought, this is such a dumb feature. Why do they have a rate button here? Why can't that be a white balance button? Why can't that be some other custom feature that I could implement? So I always thought that was a waste until recently, and it's actually awesome that it is there, because as you chimp, you just hit the rate button once for 1 star. If you want to start twice, you hit it twice. If you want to take it off, you hit it 5 or 6 times. But basically, you just rate it with 1 star as you chimp. Next thing, during dinner, I import the photos into Lightroom and on my laptop and sort by 1 star. I don't even download. I just simply put a card in my laptop and import and sort by 1 star. And then I do a quick review of duplicates, because sometimes I have such a really great shot, I might 1 star a couple images just to make sure one's sharp. So there might be a few duplicates, and I just do a back contrast, blacks and vibrance, and sharpness. And it's so easy. I export after that to the desktop, open up. I use Photo Mechanic for slideshows. It's not a fancy slideshow program. It's what we use to cull. It's an awesome software, by the way. If you don't have it, you should buy it today. It's $150. The guys that run it are awesome. They're up in Oregon, and they're great. And anyway, so it's a simple slideshow program. And then I put a slideshow from a projector. I have a little tiny projector that fits in my laptop bag. It can fit in my hand, in fact. It's only about, I'd say, 4 or 5 inches long, maybe 4 inches wide. And I can project it on a white wall or a screen. Sometimes DJs have a screen because they do those lovely baby slideshows. And sometimes the venue has a screen that drops down. That's always the best. That looks pretty slick. And I've almost thought about purchasing my own screen if I could find a real easy one, but I haven't gone there just yet. I've had pretty good success with the screens on hand, as well as just simply a white wall works fantastic, or a light-colored wall, as long as there's not anything up on it. I usually do this after an event, like the cake cutting is my favorite time to do it, so everyone can just shift their attention. It doesn't disrupt the flow of the reception. I had one DJ give me a little bit of a hard time about this because he was concerned about the flow of the reception. And the whole thing takes less than 3 minutes, and he's already got the music down low. Nobody's dancing because they're watching the cake cutting or some other event. Simply people can just shift their attention, do the slideshow for 3 minutes or whatever it is, and then boom, get right back to dancing. For songs, I usually choose the first dance song or the song that they played when the bride walked down the aisle. I don't know what songs they like, and so they have emotional connection to those two songs because they've definitely thought long and hard about which song to have during the first dance and when the bride walked down the aisle. So if they've already done the first dance, I'll usually do the first dance song. If they haven't done the first dance yet, then pick potentially the song where the bride's walking down the aisle or so. Anyway, this whole process takes 8 to 10 minutes of actual work, not counting import-export time. 8 to 10 minutes. I look at everything as a work/reward equation. How much work do I have to do, and how big is the reward? Well, 8 to 10 minutes is not a whole lot of work for a massively huge reward. Already potentially booked one destination wedding to Hawaii from doing this. Had numerous people. We just got a call from a father of a bride. Yeah, father of a bride, and wanted to order some prints, and was going on and on about how impressed he was by the slideshow. And maybe that influenced him to order prints. Maybe it didn't. Either way, he was ultra impressed, and all the wedding party and anybody related is going to be impressed by that idea. People have said to me, "I can't believe you did this. It took my photographer 6 months to get any photos, and we're doing it in 2 hours." Or we're shooting photos in less than 2 hours. They're being displayed. So for so many reasons, it's ultra impressive, and you should definitely consider it. Okay, moving forward, we've got exceeding post-day wedding expectations. These, in some senses, are the easiest, I think, to fulfill. Okay, always deliver images faster than you promised. This is critical. When we have our time length that we determine, now we're at 5 to 7 weeks. We used to be 4 to 6. And before that, we were 3 to 4 weeks. As we get busier, we keep pushing it back. But no matter what, that timeline in our head is not the actual timeline. We're always trying to get these images out well before that. In the beginning of the season, the wedding season, we're getting images out typically in less than 2 weeks, sometimes less than a week, depending on vacations and whatnot. But no matter what, deliver faster than you promised. There's nothing worse than being late, because right away they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth because they expected the images on this date, and if you deliver them later or even on that date, it's not ideal. Sneak peek on Facebook and the blog. This is so absolutely critical that they see some of the best images before everything else. I think probably of everything I go over today, this has one of the largest impacts of just about anything. And it's some sort of psychological thing where if you give somebody, we deliver around 700 or 800 images per wedding. And something about that number, when they look at all 700, all the really good ones get lost. And then you can argue, well, let's take that number down to 400 or 500 or 300. Can't really do that because really a lot of the photos are guests, and they're still great shots, and there's no reason to get rid of images just to get the number down. That's not, for my opinion, justifiable. So, excuse me. And so, but when they see 20, 30, 40, 50 images, the best on Facebook or the blog, those are the ones that stand out. They stare at those for a few weeks or 2 weeks or 1 week before they pick up everything. Those stand out. Those are the best images. And another thing, tagging them is also very important. We always ask first. We always say, "Can we tag you?" It's part of one of our paperwork. Because again, nothing worse than doing something that will make them upset. So yeah, tagging is critical because when you tag people, all their friends and family see, and it really increases the number of views, which then gets your brand out there to more people, and it's essentially free. We showcase all the images at a preview party. This is something that we love doing, and we don't tell people we're doing it. It's not printed on our rate sheet. It's more or less a surprise. I mean, it might be mentioned during the process, but at the same time, it's not something we talk a lot about. And we encourage friends and family to join. We also encourage wine, champagne. That always helps the cause. And again, it's making something special. It's not just mailing a disk or a USB drive. It's not just having them come and pick stuff up and go home. And that all stuff is fine. But again, if we're trying to exceed expectations, having a preview party where friends and family are there with a nice slideshow is a great feature. Okay, create a fancy slideshow. We've all heard of Animoto, right? I'm sick in the face with hearing about Animoto. And Animoto is great. You know, other slideshow programs are great. And we don't do a whole lot of this. We feel it's getting a little, at this point, it's getting a little cheesy. Well, Animoto is. Sorry, Animoto. But at the same point, there are ways you could do cool slideshows, and it's also, if you're not doing same-day slideshows and you're not doing some of the other stuff, it's a simple way after the fact to also exceed expectations. Something about music, something about having music with the photos is very powerful. And so however you do it with the same-day edit or with the slideshow, it's something about it it goes far. So that's one thing that you could do. Get published. All right. Well, it's harder said than done, but there are things out there to help and ease the process of getting published. To be honest with you guys, we have not made a huge focus until recently to get published. Our focus up until now, or till recently, has been more just other stuff. And so lately now we're seeing that this is critical, especially depends on your price point. If you get into the middle to higher end price point, getting published becomes more critical. In the middle to lower end, I believe it's not as critical, but it depends on your price point. It depends, again, on many variables, but it's something that we are now making a priority. And tell you what, when you do get published and you tell the bride and groom you got published in a magazine or a blog, they are stoked. They are super stoked. And you know, you're not telling them that you're going to get published. You just try to get published, and if you do, you definitely exceeded their expectations, and they get to tell all their friends, my wife was in a magazine. I'm so cool. So yeah, it's good. We surprise them with their very own app, showcasing their sneak peek images using collages.net digital brag book. Yeah, collages.net. So as you can see here, if you guys haven't been using this feature, think about it and use it. It's something that it's funny. I was a little hesitant because we have so much other stuff in the process, post-wedding process, and at first I was hesitant, and then Kevin kept telling me, Brian, look into this, think about this. This is really cool. We've had very positive comments on this process, and once we started doing it and seeing the results, and people again being so happy that now they have something that their friends don't. They have their own app. So this is something that is so great that collages.net has as an option, and the way they integrated it into the workflow, it really isn't a lot of steps at all. I was fearing that in the beginning, and then once we started doing it, it was simple, it was streamlined, the whole process. They make it very much doable, and it's something that I highly recommend. Again, we also don't tell them about this, and we want to surprise them. We want to have them come in and go, look at what we have for you. Isn't this really cool? And they go, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. So they're, yet again, surprised. So let's
cool
see
thing
here.
to sneak in there.
What's that?
It's a cool it's a cool thing to include, you know, without actually telling your customers, because, you know, it's a good surprise, basically.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great surprise. Surprises go a long way. So you want to present your brand and your company and sell yourself as much as you can. But it's sometimes, in some senses, good to hold a card or two to surprise them later. If you tell them, hey, we're doing an app, we're doing a same-day edit, we're doing all this stuff, yeah, they might more book you over somebody else that's not doing that stuff. But, you know, honestly, when it comes down to it, they book you for two things: quality of work and personality. I hear this over and over again. I ask people all the time, why did you hire us? And it's either one of those two things or it's a combination of both. Having a studio helps. Having 200 5-star reviews helps. Having doing marketing and them seeing us all over the place, that all helps. But that's not why they hired you. That's why they found you. Why they hired you is because of photos and quality of photos and your personality. But these other things that you could sort of hold back a little bit and then surprise them with, it's great. So, okay, as we're about to leave from the preview party, we say something like, and I almost phrased it exactly like this: being a small business, we thrive from referrals, and we love working with friends and family from our past clients. So it seems obvious, but But stating that fact, it kind of implants in their minds, oh, yeah, referrals are important. I'm going to go tell my friend right now that we had a great experience, and since they're getting engaged soon, to make sure to check out ABM. And another thing we do, we have a pre-saved review email. So as I mentioned before about Yelp and reviews in general, how beneficial they were. And it's funny because at first I didn't think they would be bringing us business. I just thought they would solidify business that we're trying to get. I'm completely wrong about that statement, or my initial thought. Reviews have brought in a ton of business, just a ton. And this is an email you see. I'm not sure if you guys can. Kevin, can you see that all right? It's a little pixelated on this PowerPoint. Do you see that? Is everything clear enough?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean,
okay.
It's not zoomed in, but I can get a general idea of
the
email.
Sure. If you guys want to screenshot out there, feel free. I don't care. So screenshot this and customize it however you like. So we actually changed the order of importance as far as sometimes it's WeddingWire, sometimes Yelp is first. Now we're going to more focus on Google reviews because we have quite a few reviews in the other arenas. Wedding Channel did not. That's there just because we want to win best of the not. And in fact, WeddingWire also has something called Bride's Choice, or let's see, I'm looking on my wall. We printed something up. Yeah, Bride's Choice Awards. Now I think it might be called Couple's Choice. But regardless, they're awards, and these awards really are you know, they're just kind of fluff. You just get a few reviews and you get the award. But bride and grooms think that you're being endorsed by the knot, or you're being endorsed by WeddingWire. And you play it up like that, of course. You sell it and say, oh, we won this consecutively 5 years. No other company's done that. It's not quite special. And they, of course, think it is. So this is just what we send, and we customize this. We change the order. But this is the gist of it. So this is a screenshot from, and we save this as a pre-saved email. Right up here, you can see here we have a signature. I can't click on it because it's a screenshot, but basically we have a bunch of pre-saved emails to save time. So we pre-save this, and we fill in their name, and we delete stuff if it's not necessary. And so that way we're, as automated as we possibly can be by still being somewhat personable. Automate, but still personal. So, oh yeah, this is our little, this is some awards. We actually have, I think, 1 or 2 more awards after we made this, but winning these awards, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I definitely don't pop a bottle of champagne after getting this award. I don't think it's that great. But brides do. Brides think it's great, and you tell them it's great, and you sell it to them, like I said a second ago, on being fantastic. And, we've won 5 years in a row for WeddingWire, 3 years in a year for them not. So these are all things that they help sell the brand. They help sell the studio. Let's see. We'll hold off on that real quick. And then another thing you could do is send a card on their 1-year anniversary, perhaps plugging your portraits business. So it keeps you in their mind, and it keeps you relevant, and it's a nice thing. It's easy to do. You know the wedding date. You shot the wedding. All you have to do is mark it on a calendar or some sort of digital service or whatever is best, and handwrite. Don't email. Handwrite a card. I think that emails just are not as personal in this sense. So it's so easy, just 40 cents stamp, whatever. And then you connect with them again. You remind them about maybe a sale you're having on Canvas prints or a special you're having on Portrait Session, whatever you want. So send a card. So Kevin, you wanted to mention something?
Yeah. So basically what we're doing is we're having a design sale right now. I'm sure many of you have seen the email. If you guys aren't utilizing design services that we have, it's a great way to free up some time for your studio. It's also a great aspect of your business to outsource to free up your time, especially if you don't have a designer in-house. So right now what we're doing is we are offering a free design on the level 1 design. All you have to do is use coupon code free design, and also level 2 and level 3 we're offering $1 off. So you can use that in your checkout when you're ordering any albums, and this is going to last until the end of June. So feel free to take advantage of that. I'm going to display the coupon codes at the end as well so you can get that. But feel free to use that coupon code or use those coupon codes when you check out if you have any designs that you need to catch up on. All you need to do is let us know what type of album you're building, and then also just provide the images, and we'll take care of the rest for you. And you know, the design software will also do that too, but our design services will do everything for you. So Brian, feel free to take over from there.
Anyway, if you guys haven't used design services before, it's fantastic. CollageNet.net does a great job. We've used them a number of times, and it's so awesome to be able to free up some of your own time by outsourcing, but not only outsourcing, but outsourcing to a reputable company, not somebody in India. No offense, people in India that are doing home design, but somebody that's you know it's going to do a good job. And I know that we've done a number of albums and we've been very impressed. We have a few samples right now in our studio of their designs. So if you guys haven't done that, consider that, because it really frees up your own time to focus on greater and bigger things. So, all right. Hope I'm not boring you guys too much, but we have just a little bit more to go. So this one right here, this is tough. So one of the most difficult ways to exceed client expectations is with the actual photography. Well, we could all thank the P word for this. I wonder if you guys know what the P word is. Pinterest, and easy access to blogs, websites, and bridal magazines. And in order to see client expectations with the photos that we deliver, they have to be better than the photos on our website. What do I mean by that? I'm not saying that every photo has to be portfolio quality, but honestly, a few most definitely have to. So I think of it sort of like a music album. Every music album has to have a hit to be considered a great album, right? So there has to be a handful of images that knock their socks off. So I won't leave a wedding. I'll stay as long as I can. I'll do nighttime shots so I'm blue in the face until I get a home run, until I get a shot that it could go on our website. Will it go on the website? I don't know. You've determine that for a long time. In the year, we do that one time a year, look at all the photos. But at the same time, it has potential. So I'm always striving to have a handful of images that are portfolio quality. And Pinterest has really, really blown up and made brides have unrealistic expectations. And I always have to have the talk with brides about realistic expectations. We've seen people bring in photos, one photo of a bride in Greece, and the next photo of bride in New York, bride and groom in New York with a shot, and she can marry at a winery in Temecula. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this, all right? So anyway, that's the P word. For me personally, two absolutely essential things to help achieve this are taking a risk and staying passionate. Talk about taking a risk. Okay, I thought we were having a glitch again. No, we're all good. Okay, so get the safe shot first and focus on the creative. Hold on. Yeah, get the safe shot first. I'm not saying not get the safe shot, but why they book you, why they want to hire you is not for the safe shot. That safe shot is just as critical as the creative shot, but the creative shot is why they hired you. So if you are doing safe shots all the time and spending minimal time on creative shots or something different or not or taking risks, I beg you to reconsider, because focus on the creative and taking a risk is going to really push your own photography. It's going to propel your website when you redo it with these creative shots that you took a risk on. And some other things I do, sometimes I do the opposite of what I usually do. This sounds crazy, right? Maybe it does. But I think it actually works quite well. Where normally it's a situation where I would not feeling the creative juices flowing, and I'm looking at a scenery, and I'm looking at a couple, and I'm not sure what to do, and I typically would maybe shoot something wide. I'm going to shoot tight. Same thing. If normally I'm going to shoot tight for a shot or a pose, I'm going to shoot wide, or I'm going to use different lens, or I'm going to shoot from an angle that I normally wouldn't use. So sometimes I do the opposite. It actually is a great exercise in practice too. It makes you think outside your own box. I look at other types of photography for inspiration. that very first photo that you saw on the cover slide, it's a trolley photo with the bride and groom kissing. The trolley is blurred in the background. That's our signature brand photo. And at that time, I was looking at a lot of landscape photography, not because I like landscape photography, but I was sick of looking at other wedding photography and portrait photography websites. So I wanted something different. And all landscape guys, they use that technique with slow shutter speed and motion. You often see it with lakes and rivers and streams in the forest. And so we started trying to play with that. And yeah, that shot is so old. That was shot back in 2009, maybe 2008. And it's still been our brand photo, and it probably will be forever. I can't imagine switching it out.
I honestly thought that was a train.
You thought that was a train? It's a trolley, a downtown trolley.
Good to know.
Yep. And, okay, take the flash off your camera. Take it off the camera, please. Or point it backwards, point it to the side. I will admit I use direct flash for some of the dancing shots and some still flash sometimes. But if you're taking good risks and trying to get creative, I can guarantee you that flash has to be off the camera all the time. And so nowadays with Canon's new flashes, they have these new 600 flashes. You have a transmitter you could buy called the ETR3. No, that's not right. Where's the manual? I don't have the manual. I lost it. It's something like that. It's the new transmitter, and it's great. It communicates to the flash via Wi-Fi. Nikon people, you guys are lucky. You've had this technology built into your camera forever. I've been jealous of that, and I've been wanting Canon to do something similar. So it's actually most of the time built into your camera body. We have a little transmitter we have to use, but that still works great. You can control the power, so your assistant or intern or your maid of honor doesn't have to know how to change the power of the flash. You can do it all yourself. What happened there? Oh, Java update. Java. Definitely skipping that version. Okay, so take your flash off the camera. All right. Embrace change. Don't loathe it. Okay, here. So, man, it's so easy to be frustrated when things change because you get good at one thing and you get comfortable at this thing. And the idea of switching it or adding to it is not comforting, and I get that. But the things that separate the people that stay successful and the things that separate from somebody that stays in one place, sorry about that, got a call coming through, and it's really going to be how much you embrace change. Obvious example is when things went from film to digital, the people that didn't embrace digital right away got left in the dust. And even nowadays, now the newest thing is I would probably say video, the video revolution. So if you're not exploring video or video slideshows or something like that, down the road, you're probably going to be left in the dust as well. And so these are things, and it doesn't just have to be video. It doesn't just have to be when it switched from film to digital. Just some examples of imagine the people that still today would be like, no, I'm still shooting film, shooting weddings today, exclusively film. There's some really boutique-y, high-end guys maybe doing it, but at the same time, you want to embrace the change. You want to get good at the new stuff, and you want to look at the young photographers, look at the young guys, and see what they're doing. Look, for example, I purposely have these young interns that are on the cutting edge of new technology and talking with them about what's going on and lately how Facebook is dying and things like Instagram's taking over Facebook. So these are things that I don't know myself because I'm just out of that a little bit, but these 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds, they know a lot about that stuff. So anyway, embrace change, don't loathe it. All right, stay passionate. If you don't stay passionate, I guarantee you'll burn out. Guaranteed. You'll become jaded. This happens to many photographers. So, all right, you got to be yourself. And I really stress this because really I'm just a surfing-obsessed beach bum. I never wanted to grow up. It was so draining for me trying to be like an artsy-fartsy photographer. I was attempting to wear skinny jeans, wearing fedoras, acting proper all day long. God, it made me sick in the face. And I just, at one point, I gave up. I said, I can't wear these jeans. They're so uncomfortable. I look stupid in fedoras, and I just can't act proper. It's not really in me. So a couple of years ago, I completely rebelled against this artsy-fartsy photographer I envisioned clients wanted to meet. I was wearing completely casual. I wore flip-flops, T-shirts, talked about surfing, how much I love surfing. I started dressing, acting, and talking like myself. And the most interesting thing happened. I ended up loving all of my clients from that period. Every one are still some of my favorite clients. They loved me back, and they referred me to all their friends, and I loved my job even more because the business was flowing in like crazy. And since then, to be honest, I've toned down. I don't wear flip-flops usually. Today I have a meeting and I'm wearing flip-flops, but most of the time I don't. But the point is that I'm just totally myself, completely. And in my opinion, if I lose a couple jobs a year because I'm wearing a T-shirt and not dressed in a suit or dressed how I would dress during a wedding, all black, tucked in a shirt, then that's fine. I'm so okay with that because those people, if that matters to them enough to not hire me, those are not the clients that I want to work with. I want them to book me because of my personality and the quality of the work, not because I dress nice, not because I wore flip-flops or whatever. So I think being yourself is critical, and you'll be surprised how much people appreciate that. And so anyway, there should never really be too busy. If you're too busy, charge more. Charge more, increase your rates, hire staff to help you do both. Being overworked is a one-way ticket to burnout town, no doubt. And so being too busy, it's easy to be too busy, right? I know everybody I know is too busy. But there's too busy where you can't do the things for your personal life. You can't go surfing or swimming or whatever you want to do on your free time. And then when you get to that point, then you got to switch it up and you got to change it because if you're that busy, remember this is a job. This should be a 40-hour-a-week job. And if you're working 70 hours a week, then you might as well be working for corporate America with better retirement plans because that's not a good alternative. But anyway, you should never be too busy. Find specific pursuits that really get your juices flowing. So I've recently been really addicted to backlighting water. I have some examples I'll show you in a second here. So this has been lately I've just been obsessed with it. Ever since, I think it was about a year and a half ago, I did a photo. You'll see it's going to be coming up in a second. You know what, I'll just hold off on describing that photo because you'll see it in a moment. But I did want to tell you a simple story of myself and my best friend. This goes back to taking risks, this thing we just talked about earlier. And we were actually in Peru on a surf trip down there in a little town called Ilo. It's a little crap town. Nobody really cares about it, but it's southern Peru. There's a really, really good left-hand point break down there. And we knew about it from the internet. We read some stuff, and it was somewhat secret, but we did have some basic instructions on how to get there. So we took a taxi there. Didn't even know if it was surfable that day as far as the tides of the rocks. But we find it, and it was still today probably the best session of my life. It was me and my best friend, Jordan, and we surfed it by ourselves with our other best friend and a couple other friends on the beach and got wave after wave. One of those days I'll never forget. It's so special in my heart. But the moral of the story was after the session, I said to Jordan, man, that was an awesome session for so many reasons, and I didn't fall once. And I'm not a great surfer, and back then I was definitely not a very good surfer. But I just had one of those days where I didn't fall. And I said that, and he looks at me and goes, well, you really blew it, Brian. You really blew it. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about, blew it? I made every wave, and it was perfect, and we got great waves. What's your deal? He said something to the effect of, well, you didn't take enough risks, because if you're making every wave out there, then you're not going for the really tough waves, and you're not pushing your surfing to the next level. And I thought, man, you're right. You're totally right. As great as that session was, by taking waves that I knew I could make, and I did make, I didn't push myself. And this is Jordan. Oh, embrace change, don't loathe it. Whoops, I should have said that before. Anyway, again, embrace change, don't loathe it. This is Jordan taking a risk and falling at Puerto Escondido, Mexico. Falling really hard. It's a pretty large wave there, and that's super shallow. It's a ton of sand right there, being shoved in his face. Anyway, take risks and don't make every wave. So, yeah, something I want to show you here, just some photos. So moving forward real quick. This will be pretty quick. So backlit water, the thing I talked about a minute ago. All right, so this is the shot. Did this photo, you can see the date. If you want to see my, hold on here, just do that. If you want to see my settings, they're all right here on the right-hand side, if you're curious. So 85 lens, 1.8, a great lens. And backlit water, right? So this is basically rain. It was a soft sprinkle, kind of like heavy mist, or maybe something between mist and rain. And we had an intern hold a flash behind him. We had a reflector in front of him, and the reflector bounced the light from the flash back on the them, lighting them. And in the water, of course, every droplet in the sky is being lit by the flash. People think this is Photoshop. People think it was green screen. The raw photo looks just like this. It's extremely not Photoshopped in that sense. So, you know, the reason why I'm showing you these photos is find something that gets your juices flowing. For me right now, it's backlight. It's backlit water. I'm trying to backlight water in any form. So these are a few more examples here. This is, I had an intern hold a flash behind him and stand in the water in about waist deep of water. He get really low, waited for a wave to come, and then the light traveled through that wave, and it created a great shot. Obviously, it was a nice sunset. This was in Coronado. This is a trash dress session. This wasn't actually on the wedding day, but it's all the same. And then next shot, this is one of my best friends here, who's probably listening to this webinar. This is Brett and Chrissy. This is in Cabo San Lucas, and this is a great shot. This is a combination. It was Brett's idea here to throw the water up, and it's such a cool shot and such a cool idea. We just had a flash back there, again with the beautiful sunset. Had them jump out of the water and shove that water in the air, and you see what happens with every little droplet being lit by that water, lit by that flash. And a really cool photo. It's got lots of energy. A couple more examples. This is a real photo. Again, we rarely Photoshop stuff. And so this, I don't know how this happened, to be honest, but this is the first try. This is not the groom. This is actually a past client who referred this wedding. Speaking of referrals and client and exceeding client expectations. So we got lots of great rapport with him. Past client of mine, loved his photos, referred his best friend. He's the best man of this wedding. I said, hey, Andy, I think his name, Andy, do you want to do something cool? He said, yeah, sure. I want you to, I'm like, first said, are you driving? He said, no, I'm not driving. I said, okay, good. You're going to smell like beer pretty bad. So he shook the beer up, sprayed it, fired a flash, had that background there. We had a focus. Here I'm using the 50 mil lens at f2 to get that nice blown out background, which I'm a big fan of. And these little droplets right here, I don't know how this happened. This is sheer luck and timing, but it worked out great. So speaking of Photoshop, I actually did slightly Photoshop this shot. So let me retract that statement I just said. So this is shaped like a heart. This is the same couple as this couple, same session. And again, just finding unique ways. We borrowed 2 sand buckets from kids that just were playing. I said, hey, can we borrow your buckets? Had them pick up the water, throw it in the air, and although it was not shaped this closely to a heart, it was shaped like a heart, and we just moved some water around, and boom, we have a heart in there. Pretty cool. People like the shot. Again, same couple, and so what else could we do here? We've done all the standard stuff. Why not just kick some water in her face? So unconventional, but yet something really cool about it. Lots of energy in it. Again, backlit water. Is so awesome. The thing I was really into a little while ago before backlit water was ring shots. So I was obsessed with getting cool ring shots. So this is a sparkler ring shot. Pretty neat here. We have just a simple sparkler that you would use at a grand exit. Put it over the flash, and somehow those little laser beams of light come right out, and it just looks fantastic. And it's using just one light. There's no reflector. There's no flash. The light from the sparkler is enough to illuminate it completely. A couple more. This is kind of cheesy. Just thought it was unique. Again, firing a flash. But you'd be surprised how many people comment on this photo. I actually stole this idea from an old wedding photography book. It was on the back cover. I still remember everything. It was on the back cover, and they had the shot. It wasn't quite this good, but it has basically the concept there. And so, yeah. People love that. So people sometimes say, I don't have a macro lens, or I don't want to bring a macro lens because I want to keep my gear count down, which I get. My partner, Nick, he's a big part of our studio. I should have probably mentioned him earlier. Nick Manzel, he's awesome. He shot this photo with a 24-70 and a 57 right there. And so you don't need to have a macro lens to do cool ring shots. You just need a good idea. So this is a real clever idea. Obviously, the bright color background looks great, and he's being really creative there. And so a couple more ring shots. This is an old photo, but nice. Bright color. It looks like a studio lit shot pretty much. His creative idea, a chess, king, and a queen. So this was shot with the macro lens. This is 100 macro, but it doesn't have to be. This shot could have been shot with a 24-70, really at anything from 50 to 70. It's just the concept is really nice. Having the chess, king, and the queen. This shot's cool too. Good bokeh. Okay, moving forward. Let's see here. So, one thing I like to mention too is when you're trying to exceed client expectations, sometimes simple things go really far. So this couple got married in Palm Springs, and this particular day it was blowing probably 60 or 70 knots. It felt like a hurricane. It was so windy out there, and I said to the couple, let's go out to the sand dunes, or let's go out to the sand, the open area, just outside the city of Palm Springs, kind of near where they have the, Palm Springs, where they have the wind things. Anyway, so we have here them, and we were trying to do a more normal shot first, and they were a bit frustrated. I basically sell them an idea of let's go out there. I know it's windy. Let's see what we could do. And they really didn't have too many expectations from it because I did tell them it's going to be tough. It's very windy, but we'll try to make it work. And originally we tried to do a regular photo with the hair not in the face, and then at one point we just gave up. I said, you know what, guys, screw it. Just go with it. Let it flow. It's okay. At this point, we can't keep fighting it. It's not making you happy. It's definitely not making me happy. So she let go and just let the hair fly in their face. I only shot a handful of images, so I didn't know what was going to happen, but this image came out and applied a little bit of a custom vintage filter to it that we have. And it's just one of my favorite shots I've ever taken in my life because it's so spontaneous. There's so many things wrong with it in the sense it's not conventional and it's breaking all the rules. You never want to have hair come through the face, but just where the hair is falling, it's great. It looks real romantic to me, and I love that. Another way I exceeded this client's expectations is we were in this little barn area here down in San Diego, in a place called actually Escondido, a city called Escondido, and old barn. There's barns just like this all over the nation. And light was coming through this, and as I was walking, a little bit of dust was being picked up, just enough where I could sort of see the idea of the light coming through these holes. And then I thought, okay, we need to exaggerate this. So I had the groom here, or the guy here, take up a handful of dirt and throw it in the air and run back and grab her and kiss her. And when we did that, all the dust and air was lit by was looking like a laser beam of light coming through. And so this is something that not only could the client not see, but it's a great idea and something that they weren't expecting, because just like when you use flash, clients can't see it, so they're impressed, but the sky can look a certain way because you use flash and tone down your exposure. This sort of a shot, they're not seeing this the way that I was, and so for them, they were ultra impressed, and this is a great shot. It's probably one of my favorite engagement photos. This shot, it's funny because so often if you just pay attention to the world, you find great light where you don't need reflectors, you don't need off-camera flash. Here, this photo right here is awesome. This is one of my good friends from college, actually three of my good friends from college. But see this little area right here where it's lit? This is from a reflection off the building over here. So the sun is above this building, lighting glass. I think it was a glass building, and it was illuminating and it was lighting this little section. And how I found this was not playing with the reflector. I was just walking and looking, and then I got hit in the face with the brighter light that was behind it and in front of it. And I looked and said, "Oh, there's a reflection." It looked like a giant movie light because it's massive. It goes all the way across the sidewalk, and it could fit this many guys. And so I thought, okay, well, we're going to do a reservoir dog shot. I call this reservoir dogs, where they're walking and they come into the light, and but if they're lit, it just looks great, and it's creating great dimension on their face because of that reflection. and love the shot. So again, just seeing the light, using the existing light, and when you create something creative and using something like this, this is the same couple as the previous shot. Right at dusk, I love this time of the day, not just for photography, but just in general. I love right before night, past sunset, and it's getting dark and darker and darker, and it hasn't not quite night, but it's not day, right in between. It's one of my favorite times to shoot. You get these great deep blues everywhere in the sky and reflecting off the building. Utilizing that main light there, the street light, as the source for the light on her face, and that way we can expose everything much darker because the light's fairly strong. And then color balancing is so critical, because if you color balance this shot for that warm light, everything else gets super, super, super blue. So that's a whole different topic, though. Yeah, let's skip this one. This is a fine shot, but whatever. This shot is going to bridge me to nighttime shots. So we talked a bit about that before, earlier in the PowerPoint. And so nighttime shots, again, I look forward to these more than anything else right now. I get so excited to get through the sunset shots, to get through the grand entrance, through the first dance, through dinner, and for it to be our time for nighttime photos. This shot is awesome. This is downtown San Diego. This shot's pretty funny. I'll admit one thing. I forgot my cable release. I think I either got it at home, or maybe I left it way up in the Ultimate Skybox, and I didn't want to go and grab it because I might miss the bus. It comes only once every half hour. So I put the camera on a tripod, and I do a 2-second timer because I don't want to push the camera and risk shake in the background, and that's why I wanted the cable release to begin with. And so with that being said, I have to take the shot, I have to push the shutter 2 seconds before I want the photo taken. And then I only get one opportunity because the bus comes once every half hour. We're not going to stand there for an hour to get a second opportunity. So I literally had one photo, one shot to get this. And anyway, that's the full moon back there. This is taken at 10:30 at night, right there. 24 lens, 24 mil, and at 2.0. Very common aperture. I love 2.0, 1.8, my two favorite. And so anyway, nighttime shots kick ass. This next shot, this is a lesbian couple I photographed a little while ago. It was like last year about this time. And this is just, I don't even know what to say about the shot. This shot is crazy. And, you know, it does look kind of hyper-processed or over-processed, which we typically try to avoid. But, man, this shot just looks so incredible. I couldn't avoid it. I had to do it. So we did some nice edits on this, and you know, back to the whole take your flash off the camera. This is lit by one flash behind them. That's it. We did bump up their exposure on the front of them a little bit via masking Photoshop, but still, this is not even a reflector. This isn't two lights. This is one light. The light is bouncing off their back and going up and lighting that whole network of branches. That's actually branches and sticks up there. This is at the Twin Oaks Garden State, Twin Oaks Garden. Yeah, so a couple more nighttime shots. All right, this I do all the time. I grab some guests. You know, guests come up to you, everybody, and say, "Oh, what camera do you have? I got a Rebel. I got this or that," and then they start talking to you, and they start, you know, getting into photography with you, and you end up talking to them throughout the night a little bit. Always happens to me, and for better or worse. But I take that person, I use them. What I mean by that is I ask them to run behind this couple for the grand exit or some other time and fire a flash off camera, and that's what's causing, of course, this light on the side of them. And so it really adds a dynamic dimension to the standard sparkler exit. Looking back at the shot, I would rather have this group of people a little bit closer. It would have probably looked better if they were a bit closer. But with that being said, this is a great shot. I love how he's in the middle of a step, so it looks very action-oriented. And that light behind him really makes the shot. It makes a big difference having that light. So again, flash off camera is so critical to some of the stuff that we've been doing lately in the last couple of years, and the nighttime shots is absolutely critical. Next photo, I don't know what to say about this, but this shot's really cool. And you know, I think the shot could be executed better, but this is the first and only time I've tried this, and it turned out cool enough to show you guys. It's probably not going to end up on our website, so I think it'll be done better at some point, and then we'll end up using that. But for the first time ever trying this, this is neat. And again, firing the flash off camera, getting the shadows here in this this palm frond is cool. It's different, and they really appreciated this. And you know, this is the type of shot I said before. It's got to, every wedding you have to have a hit. So I went through this entire wedding up until this point with no hits, and it was going to be a bland album. You know, it was just going to be a bunch of decent songs, a bunch of decent photos. And then the nighttime photos came, so I said to myself, we have to do something cool. We have to do something different. We have to take a risk. We have to do something that could be a hit. And we tried a couple other nighttime shots prior to this, and they went okay, but not that great. And so then I was a little bummed walking away back to the reception without a hit, with my tail between my legs, defeated. And then I just, you know, came across this, and again, off-camera flash, showed them in camera, and they were in love. And they came back and remembered this photo after the wedding and said, how did that turn out? Anyway, love the shot. I think every one of these is off-camera flash except for this one. Yeah. Next one, off-camera flash again. It's behind them, a very common spot for me to put it. And it's actually lighting that whole area right here, this whole front of the boat. And so you can see right here, this is just downtown San Diego. I'm up top. I climbed on top of the boat. I think it's illegal. I'm pretty sure I wasn't allowed to be up there. But I climbed up there anyway, got the team perspective. I really wanted to focus on them. Since they are quite small, I wanted them to be really exaggerately bright against this white. So obviously his black suit, they pop a ton and you don't really get lost. And then we applied some nice editing to the background and got this great shot of the downtown cityscape, San Diego. Next couple shots, just wanted to mention something as far as the seating expectations. And you know, one thing I've noticed lately is that the thing that separates me and the better photographers that I look at and that I maintain high degrees of inspiration from is really their perspective on the ideas and the shots that they're coming up with. So this was my idea. It wasn't planned, and we actually had to go and beg people to turn this back on, and it took a long time to go down and back up. And I'm by myself with no intern for the shot, holding on to I think it was holding on to 3 lenses in a camera body. One lens almost fell and broke. It was really close to falling off my lap. But this shot is fantastic. They got married up in June Lake, and the reception was at the ski lodge, which unfortunately now June Lake is closed. It's a really sad thing. It was a really cool local mountain. And so, you know, crop stuff different. One of the easiest ways you can make your work look higher end is to crop it differently. So this shot is a close-up bridal portrait. And I don't like to crop in post. I like to crop when I shoot. So, you know, I suppose you could do a regular shot and crop it in post, but regardless, it's the same in the end. But cropping is different. It's amazing how a different crop makes a difference. In this shot, if it was just her, both eyes, full face, super close up, it'd be a nice shot. It'd be a keeper, no doubt. But a shot like this bridal portrait, is different. It's unique, and it looks higher end, I guess you could say. Here, same thing, just stepping back really far, shooting with the wide lens. I've always loved silhouettes. Since I was a young kid, actually. I still remember getting my silhouette made from one of those people that cut out stuff when I was probably 10, 11 years old. Anyway, I love silhouettes, and so be able to create a nice silhouette. This guy here was beautiful, but it wasn't terribly dramatic, but it was nice, very, very nice, like good standard dramatic sky for San Diego. You don't get quite the Seattle dramatic down here, but this is pretty dramatic, and shot this ultra wide, 24 millimeters on a 24-70, and stood way back. And the good thing about the shot is that, again, it's so ultra wide. It's not something you would think of or really be able to conceptualize if you're a bride and groom or a client. And they still stand out. So you look at the shot, and the first thing you see is the sky, but you still see them right away because the way that they're positioned, and that's the low angle of the shot. Here, you guys might be able to see it better. This is, again, our review email. I just want to include that if you want to take a screenshot again, or if this might be higher quality. No, it actually looks about the same quality. So, you know, again, feel free to screenshot this stuff. So when I first moved to San Diego, I was basically homeless, sleeping on my best friend's couch, and I had a goal of shooting 100 weddings a year. At that time, I was working as a restaurant server, a morning server, in fact, the lowest of the low in the service industry, pretty much, getting there at 6 in the morning. I didn't even own a car. I sold it for a surf trip to mainland Mexico. That photo of Jordan falling, it was for that surf trip. I had 0 weddings and 0 contacts to get my first wedding, and I didn't know where to start. But slowly and surely, just one satisfied client led to another and another. And then I'm just right now a handful of weddings away from reaching my goal of 100 weddings a year. We're right there, and probably will do it this year, in fact. So, you know, if a beach bum like me could do it, I think all you guys could do it as well. So thanks for everybody tuning in, and really big thank you to Kevin and Collage.net, who we've been partnering with for almost since the beginning, and we use 3 of their albums and also their event hosting, which has been fantastic. Any problem that we've ever had has been resolved immediately, and their products are great. They arrive, some of their albums arrive within a week, which again exceeds client expectations because we tell them 3 weeks. So numerous reasons why Collage.net takes butt. But thanks again to everybody. If you guys want to ask questions, feel free to. And Kevin, do you want to take over?